Hi, and welcome back to the Retro John podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about Uganda's first action movie called Who Killed Captain Alex. And joining us, we have some returning faces, Josh and Lauren from the Marvelless Podcast. How are we doing?
Hello.
Hey, Jeff.
So, who killed Captain Alex?
The question indeed, a question the film will ask and not answer.
I was just about to say, I still don't know who killed Captain.
I mean, there's something on the IMDb page where it says under trivia, even the director doesn't know who killed Captain Alex.
Oh, beautiful! What
So-
a true piece of metafiction.
It's like
Yeah.
Donnie Darko. You take from it what you will.
So,
Oh,
under
Da-
audience interpretation and all that.
David Lynch would be so happy. He'd be like, "It's the ultimate piece of art where you have to decide."
When did you first see Who Killed Captain Alex?
Please, Lauren.
About 2 days ago.
Okay. Oh, your first introduction to Ugandan cinema.
Yes, completely. I think
Okay.
I've completely missed out on Ugandan cinema. I think before I had seen some like Nigerian cinema, right back in like film studies days and stuff. But this was my first venture into Ugandan cinema, which was an interesting experience.
How do they
Yeah.
compare?
Quite a lot, to be fair. From what I remember, it was a really long time ago. Like Nigerian cinema, I'm sure it was a lot more polished from what I'd seen, and it was quite political. I think there was a lot to do. I want to say about coffee beans and stuff like that. It was more of like a political piece, and yeah, it was a really long time ago. But
Okay.
And you think Captain Alex is an apolitical piece of art?
no, not completely. I just want to say. I'd say that the Nigerian cinema I watched was a lot more polished and was quite I don't know.
Less interlaced would be a term I would use.
Yeah, that could be a good term.
So Josh, when did you first see the film?
I had seen it a few years ago. I'm a massive fan of good bad cinema, and Captain Alex is like the one of the flagship pieces. I don't remember the funny thing. I didn't remember it had a voiceover over the top of it, which I'm certain we'll circle back around to. I think this must have been in my younger days when I used to hang out with my best friend Mary Jane. Wink. Um, so me and Mary would spend a lot of nights together watching movies, normally of the same quality of Who Killed Captain Alex. And you know what? Watching it this time, I knew I took away a much more sober experience, but also I'd say a maybe much more emotional experience from watching it. I had a very strong emotional reaction to the end of this movie, which may shock and amaze some people.
In what way?
Um, this is something that's come up a lot on my and Lauren's podcast, and just in discussions about art I've been having lately. Is that it's like the whole like art not being a contest and art just being the um just being a way to express something and to like collaborate, and like making art is fun and it is joyous, even if you're making difficult art or political art or like morally strong art. Like the process of making art is fun, especially cinema. I the reason I got into making films, and I assume you two did too, is making films is really, really fun. And in the end credits, when you just see like the behind the scenes and the bloopers and like I was like, these guys had fun making this movie, and like, wasn't that the point of all of this? That these people got together and they made this thing together, and that's beautiful in a sense. It's when you like step into paracinema, which is what like this is, for me, like the conceit of the film often falls away, and you realize you realize you're just watching people act. You're like, there is no the fourth wall has fallen, and you're just watching these people try and do something, and then at least for me, I connect to them on that level as an artist, being like, oh yeah, when I make stuff, I'm just trying to express something. I'm just trying to make something. And I was actually quite moved by the concept of cinema, maybe not so much the film itself, but the concept of making something. And especially very recently, I don't remember whether I said this or not, me and Lauren talking about how art shouldn't be a contest and it should just be entirely like it should be celebratory and collaborative. And I think, especially in this new mindset I'm in, I was like, these guys had fun. Like, isn't that the best thing ever? And maybe that's not what I was meant to take away from the movie, but that's where I was.
That was one of my favorite bits, though, seeing at the end, like them like putting all their guns together, getting all these little
Yeah,
different pieces, and like all the kids just like running around, and everyone seemed to have like the best time, like putting all that stuff together. And it looked like it was really hard work, but they looked like they had the
yeah.
best time.
I mean, if you're enjoying it, it's like, well, the old adage, if you enjoy your work, you're not going to work a day of your life, sort of thing. So, yeah, that.
Exactly, and that's how I've made my job as a professional cannibal so easy for me.
Just going into that, the background of the film itself, it costs like $200 to make, or it says like
I
around $200.
don't think I've ever made a film for more than that in my life.
Um, most of the actors were actually like kung fu artists, and like the director, no number one. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this, but number one IGG. Um, a lot of his inspiration was like American Hollywood movies and Chinese kung fu movies. So he thought that and sort of like a bit of his own flair to it, and that's his main inspiration behind Who Killed Captain Alex and other similar films. Um, but originally, this film was made in 2010 and generally meant to be seen by people like his friends, family, and eventually like people in his village and other villages around, and share them on DVD.
See, to me, sorry, that's so lovely.
Mm.
Like, you know, it wasn't that like when you made your first film, you showed it to your friends and family, and that was kind of it. Like that's, remember burning DVDs and trying to make a custom menu for them.
Oh. I remember
I
doing
don't
that
know
like
where,
once.
yeah,
It
so
didn't work.
this might be me
Horrible.
aging myself. Yeah, Jeff, when you were in education, did you have to submit your work on a DVD or did you
No.
have to submit yours? Yeah, me and Lauren did have to submit our work on a DVD when we were at uni.
Oh, so
I'm
at
sure we
least
were
you know
allowed a
actually how to
USB
do
stick
it.
one time.
Yeah, for the third year, yes, it was USB stick, but I remember those first 2 years being like, gotta get a CD burner, gotta.
Yeah, because I remember that because everyone was in a panic. They're like, we've got no CDs. And we all had to go and buy them. And didn't someone bring like a big stack to the classroom and we're like just giving them out? Oh,
You see,
man.
and this is the kind of memories that this film has elicited in me from watching it. Like, but sorry, I digress. I do
No,
apologize.
no, it's good. And like, I wish I had that. Like, being taught how to like burn a DVD properly and how to make a menu and how to do that. That
It's a lost art, Jeff.
I know. Like, it's
So I
oh.
feel ancient. I feel like a fossil.
Sorry.
You know, you know what else is a dying job? The guy that had to think of the name for the DVD chapter titles. Don't do that anymore, do they? Talking about this with mine and Lauren's friend the other day, Chloe, that like I don't remember the last time I saw a director's commentary on anything. I'm a collector of like physical media of the films that I like. And like I'd love to buy Glass Onion on Blu-ray so I could hear Ryan Johnson's director's commentary because he's an incredibly insightful filmmaker. But you know, that is denied me because Netflix don't think people would like to own any art. They just like to
Oh,
rent it for £17 a month with ads.
something funny about this. There's a series that I really like that's on Netflix, Altered
Mhm.
Carbon.
Oh yeah.
It's had
Yeah,
2
yeah.
seasons because Netflix can't count to 3. Um, well, they can't, can they?
No,
Like,
they're like Valve when it comes to video games. They just can't figure out the third one.
yeah, 2 seasons. It's like, is it doing well? Yes, great. Season 3, no, not going to happen. But yeah, like you say, that they're not going to do physical media because that's not the business model. But I'm trying to
Well,
think. Well, if I want to get my physical media copies of Netflix stuff, what do I do? I went onto eBay. No, like English language speaking countries do that. The only country that I can see it is China. So we've got here Altered Carbon season 1
yes,
and Altered Carbon season 2 there on Blu-ray.
Nice.
that's
Mm.
amazing. I love that.
And it
Why?
does have like English language, like audio and subtitle
Mhm.
options, but the default is uh, I think Chinese, either Mandarin or Cantonese. I don't know. I don't speak Chinese, but
Have you been brushing up on your Mandarin before you watch it? It'd be a good language learning tool to watch those in Mandarin and just like absorb it.
true.
Are
But at
they?
the same time, there's it's mostly English. There's some scenes in Japanese, some in Spanish, some in German, but I can either
Wow.
turn the subtitles completely on in one language or completely off. So, uh,
Does Blu-ray suffer from the same thing that like DVDs did, where you have to get them in different regions, or can you just play Blu-ray on anything?
well, I think it does have regions, but I think there are ways around it you can do at home.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. I need to look more into that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me as well if for some strange reason China and Europe are the same region of Blu-ray.
Although the weirdest thing with this, it says on here at the back, not authorized for sale or rental outside the USA. For USA only.
Sorry. You need to let that sit for a second, Jeff.
I mean, just for people at home, I do not live in the USA. I wasn't
What?
born in the USA. But as something that's only meant to be sold in the US, why is there like Chinese on that? Like, what percentage of Americans speak Chinese?
There's a specific Chinese market that they're aiming for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a language tool to learn English.
But no,
About
I find it
the-
really, really weird that, but
yeah. I reckon I'm going to bring this back around for you. I'm the master of bringing it back. I reckon you'd probably find it easier to find a copy of Captain Alex on DVD than you would most Netflix productions.
I mean, true, yeah. Uh, but yeah, bring it back to Captain Alex. You mentioned about director's commentaries. Well, this one sort of has a kind of commentary. Um, I don't know. Do you?
I called him the hype man, and he made that film for me.
And I was like to Lauren in our DMs like, I really think if this man wasn't talking over the top of this film, it'd probably be 10 times better.
But
Oh,
apparently
I
he
think I've
did
got a
that. He
ghost.
did that as something for the other people around, just to like make it a bit more palatable.
Yeah, so from my understanding, in African cinema, films don't tend to get released in the language of said African country because obviously they all speak different languages, and people don't think there's a market for it. Netflix won't even release for the physical media of the most popular shows in English. You know, you're not going to, Warner Brothers aren't going to be sending out Chinese versions of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grundlebonk down there, are they? You know, and so from my understanding, when films are shown in some African cinemas, a guy in the audience who can speak the best English will stand with a microphone and talk about what's happening on the screen and in language, in
Oh,
like and translate language. Like it's part of some African cinema culture, like literally.
See, that really
And
makes
okay.
sense because I only understood what was going on through most of that film because that man was like, "This is the tigers. This is the this is the whoever," and I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes more sense now."
and like they are notorious for just shouting out their friends and family during these films when they're like talking through them and stuff, and seeing it like being like, oh yeah, this like video DJ he's calling himself.
It did remind me of a
I'm like,
DJ though. Like, you could imagine him
what
at a party, like
irritating.
just over the microphone, like, "Oh, like this is the best party in the world."
But it's like knowing that knowing that cultural like touchstone now, not that knowing it before, the voiceover makes way more sense. It's like that is part of their cinema culture.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's again, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense for that. I like that. But
Because here's the thing, even if the film is released in an African country, they might not speak the same language that you do.
mm,
You know, it's the second biggest continent in the world. A lot of countries over there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, you know, world's a big, beautiful place.
But as it's on DVD, it's been like shown to all these people, the director needed to clear his hard drive for his next film. I know, reading about that just makes my heart bleed. Now, I'm a data hoarder. I can't get rid of anything. I oh no, but he cleared his hard drive to make his next film. So the only copies of the film that exist are these like low quality, low bit rate DVD resolutions with his commentary over it. And yeah, that's almost like a big shame that like yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to have a piece of like almost lost media.
Mm.
It would be like I can't think of a famous piece of lost media at the moment, but it would be like if all the footage of the moon landing existed, but you could hear Richard Nixon breathing over the top of all of it. You'd be like, yeah, we technically do have the moon landing footage, but it's not what we not how we'd like it.
Reminds me of old Doctor Who episodes of
Yes,
like in the
it's
60s.
that's a much better example. They've got the audio for some of them, don't they? But not the visual, because the BBC again wiped stuff and got rid of stuff just for physical space.
Oh, no one's going to be wanting to watch this like next year,
Ever again.
let alone 60 years later. Oh, like on
The, it,
Australia, they had certain bits like cut out, like for censors. Ironically enough, only the bits that have been cut out survived. So the things that they intended for people not to see are the things that everyone has seen, or the only things people can
all,
see.
all the F bombs the Doctor drops every episode.
I was gonna say, what are they cut out for Australia? It must have been bad for Australia to cut stuff out.
It's like scary stuff. Like some people thought the Doctor Who was like a kids thing, so you need to cut
Oh
things
yeah,
out to make
yeah.
it all right for kids.
Australia is where they have spiders the size of blocks of flats. What the fuck are they going to find scary? Before I check my hat, let me check there's not a snake in here that's going to eat my eyes. Like,
I was just thinking about all the Bluey episodes that they changed that they send over here because I don't know, some things that they say in Australia are a bit more offensive over here. They
Oi,
changed
Bluey,
Yeah.
Oi, Bluey, you prick, get back here.
Oh no, what was it? There's one episode in the new series where there's two different teams like football teams fighting, like, and then like, oh, we're gonna flog you, as like we're gonna win. So like removed it from like the American English version and changed it like we're gonna beat you.
Oh,
we're
that's
gonna
much
kill
better.
you.
Yeah. Just silly little things like that.
Oh,
So
an
strange.
episode of Peppa Pig was censored in Australia. Were completely banned. But for a good reason. For a good reason.
Did they turn her into bacon?
Oh, series finale. Yep. No, it basically Peppa Pig finds a spider in her house, and the moral of the episode was, oh no,
Mr.
spiders are
Skinny
our
Legs.
friends. Yeah, Mr. Skinny Legs. Oh no, don't kill the spider. Spiders are our friends to help get rid of
Yeah.
flies. But it's banned in Australia because they don't want to give the impression to kids in Australia that
To keep all them horrible spiders in your house.
yes.
This is your fault, Jeff. But I've got an even weirder tangent.
Oh,
Have
go
you
on then.
guys seen footage of that Peppa Pig video game where it's got that memorial to Queen Elizabeth in it?
No.
No?
Yeah, there's
No.
a bit where you're like jumping in the puddles with Queen Elizabeth, and then it's like remembrance
Oh
of Queen Elizabeth.
no, that's an actual episode.
Is that an actual episode? Oh my god, that's...
Yeah, they go to visit the Queen, and the Queen's like, "Oh, hi, hi, Peppa," and they're like, "Oh, look, we love jumping in puddles." So she like get her wellies on, and then she jumps in the puddles with them. Obviously, not the real Queen Elizabeth, R.I.P.
What happened?
What?
They just went to visit the Queen. They go to Buckingham Palace. They go to London, and they're like, "Can we go see the Queen?" They go, "Okay."
Was
And
the
then
Queen a
they
human?
Yeah, is she a
Yeah,
pig?
no, she's a human.
Oh, I was going to say, like,
I'll
what
send you a
animal was the
screenshot
Queen?
after.
Oh, okay.
No, she's
And
like a
that
human.
and that's the thing with the the memorial in it as well.
Well, I've not seen anything with a memorial inside it, but I don't know. Unless they put that in afterwards. But yeah, there is an episode of Peppa Pig with the Queen in, jumping in puddles.
Wow.
Guess it
The-
wasn't
the-
voiced by the actual Queen, was it?
I guess
and
not.
then
No.
she did that thing with Paddington, didn't she?
And James Bond for the Olympics.
I'll tell you one thing, Jeff. Whilst I was getting emotional when the film was ending, when the title card at the end exploded, I did do a very, very, really big laugh.
It was a very funny film.
Oh
There's
yeah,
some
like
really funny lines in that film.
yeah,
It's like
like
when
just
it's
in
like when they because when they're like, "Oh, how did he get captured?" He's like, "Because he's a bitch." It just really, really made me laugh.
yeah, like it's weird because there's like two films happening at once. There's the video DJ version and the actual film. And like the actual film itself is very funny. The use of Kiss from a Rose and Dancing Queen. Oh my god. When Kiss from a Rose played for the first time, but like this elevator music instrumental version of it. Oh my god, Jeff. I was like
I'm glad I wasn't the only
oh
one to notice that. I just sit
yeah.
hearing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on a minute. Is this
I was
Mamma
like, how are
Mia?
they playing Albert? I was like, how have they got away with this?
I think maybe copyright law in Uganda is a bit more loosey goosey than it is in a
Well, to be fair, this was meant to go to like
yeah,
friends and
exactly.
family
Yeah, yeah.
and that's
Oh
it
god, the
just
ABBA estate's gonna
accidentally became well, I say accidentally, it became popular on the internet. You know, just I think it exploded like in 2018 or something. Because it first got
Yeah,
released like on the internet in 2015.
yeah, the
So 5
trailer
years
that
after it
went.
originally.
Yeah,
Mm.
I I, what I like about this is that, from my understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jeff. IGG has not gone on record to be like, oh no, it was meant to be silly from the start. You'd like, because you know about Birdemic,
Mm.
the guys and Sharknado, those guys have tried to kind of rewrite their history, being like, no, the film wasn't bad, it was meant to be like that. It's like, no, that's something you've done after the fact. You made a shitty film that people thought was stupid, and you're trying to cover your asses. Just admit you made a popular shitty film. Like,
Uh,
but I think a lot of the love for Captain Alex that I've seen is like a genuine, like, the kind of respect that I feel like we have between us here is that you go, these people are making a film and having a good time, and I'm enjoying watching the film that they made. You know,
mm.
it's not like this. It's not like this mocking. Isn't this film so fucking terrible? Unless you do think it's absolutely fucking terrible, Jeff.
No, I love it. I love it. No,
Yeah,
these sort of called like good bad movies where
yeah, yeah,
uh, like you say, yeah, the conceit of it being a film, the suspension of disbelief is, I wouldn't say gone, but it's different. It's in a different
yeah,
gear.
yeah. Para cinema.
Parasona, yeah.
Mm.
It's like Neil Breen.
Yeah,
His films
yeah.
are ones that I'll be honest, I respect more than I enjoy, but I respect that he's sort of like he's been consistent. He's not like to bring on what you said before that his he's not saying, oh no, these films are supposed to be silly, they're supposed to be a bit goofy, but he stayed true to that and like, no, this is exactly what I'm trying to make here, and
You know, it's like all the Bruce Lee stuff in this, in Captain Alex. You're like, oh yeah, this guy clearly loves kung fu movies, and that's why I think that stuff is some of the stuff that lands the best and comes
mm,
across the best, is because he's clearly in like loved that and absorbed it, and he can replicate it because it's coming from a genuine place of passion.
oh
And the
yeah.
fact that apart the fact that everyone in the film's fucking banging at kung fu, it's just like,
That was so surprising how good they
yeah,
all are at Kung Fu. I was like, what? Oh,
No
they're actually
CGI.
fighting. Brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant.
Wait, yeah, no CGI in that film at all. I think every shot is all practical effects.
Or fun fact about the film,
Mm.
the first like portion of the film, all the blood used was cow's blood they got from a local slaughterhouse. But
Mm.
one actor got sick because they had to like spew it out of their mouth. Yeah.
I'm
So then
surprised they got.
they,
Yeah, getting sick sounds like the lucky version of that story.
yeah. So then they switched to food coloring. Mm.
That's very fair. I don't know whether you have this information at hand, Jeffrey. You know, all the guns are real guns, right?
Wait, are they?
Lauren's
I
shaking her
don't.
head no.
I'm pretty sure they're not.
Like, I think if not all I think some of the guns are real guns.
I think some
Mm.
of them might be, but some of them did look quite realistic. But then there's like there's a big scale of realism on those guns.
Yeah. Is it like the stormtrooper helmets in the first Star Wars movies where they made 50 of them and like 10 of them looked good? So they were like, in the close-ups, we'll use the 10 good helmets. Like if you look at a background stormtrooper in any original Star Wars movies, they've got heads like fucking bins. It's like these ones didn't come out so good. And they're not doing that Peter Jackson like bad taste thing of just being like, oh no, the weird heads are part of it.
Mm.
Actually, you know what? That's an example of I got a really big bad taste vibe from this. It screams my first movie. Like it was IGG's first movie, I think, right? Or
Yeah.
like first one of that scale at least.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Yeah.
and it's got the I think the energy that people bring to their first film was like if you I always think where am I going here? Like just like that whole like bad taste thing, whereas like Peter Jackson shot it over a half a year on weekends with his mates. Like that's the exact vibe that this gave me. Like, and people laud bad taste of being like, you know, well, that's the thing that launched Peter Jackson's career, was making this shitty film.
Yeah, and this has like spawned other films as well. I hope, like
Mhm.
3/4 of the way into the film, I'm sure he dropped like, "Oh, coming soon from wakaliwood, Bad Black, coming soon." A film directed by IGG. So there was like an advertisement for his next film before before the film even finished.
I mean, normally people leave that to the end of the film to put the advert for the next one in.
James
Like,
Bond will return in.
yeah. You know, you watch the end of Eternals, you see Harry Styles turn up, and you go, "Oh God, they're gonna try and make another one of these, aren't they? At some point with Harry Styles in it."
You didn't think Who Killed Captain Alex was particularly political, but Josh, you mentioned
Yeah,
it
maybe
may
a
have
bit
been.
tongue in cheek, maybe a bit tongue in cheek state. When it uses actual footage of military coups, you go, yeah, maybe Africa's a wild place to live with, like, very complex politics that
Mm,
somehow this film has tapped into. And then you go, wait, this entire film's been about militia killing people's families. This entire film has been political. On the way home from work today, I was talking to a guy on the train about RoboCop. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I just love the kind of like political satire of RoboCop. And this guy was like, the what? It's like, yeah, RoboCop's like a really political movie. Like this guy dies on his job, and they're like, we're going to use the most advanced technology in the world to bring you back, so you can come and do your job. Like the film's got advert breaks. The entire film was about how capitalism and corporations are evil. I don't know
Wow.
how this dude missed that. It's not subtle.
Paul Verhoeven's films are anything but subtle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this guy watching Starship Troopers being like, man, aren't nuclear bombs great?
Were there any like, standout moments for you about the film?
You go first, Josh.
Mine were moments. The big thing that kept jumping out to me was how well everyone was acting. Like I genuinely think people's performances were very good. The woman with the shorter hair that was like curly here, I was like, she's given a pretty good performance throughout all of this movie. I am again completely enamored any time any kung fu happened on screen. And I think we've talked around it for long enough. The helicopter bits, I will admit,
That just
were,
absolutely sent me. I was watching it on my laptop in the living room, and then Lee was watching something else, and I literally pressed play, and the first thing that comes up is that helicopter, and I went, oh, fucking hell. And he's like, "What's the matter?" And I was like, I turned it around. I was like, "This is the first shot of the movie." He just started laughing. It's like, "Oh, enjoy that."
so at that final helicopter climax starts with ba-da-da-dee-dun-da-dun-da-da. I'm like, kiss, kiss from a rose underneath this. Oh my God. I think it'd been like the fourth time Kiss from a Rose had appeared in this. And I would like to know whether that's the video DJ doing that or that's the
Oh
actual
yeah,
soundtrack from the
that
movie.
would be
Oh
funny.
yeah, we may never know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also the musical number in the middle, which he added, was a big standout moment to me.
Which one was that?
It's like he like starts rapping and singing in the middle of the film.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And I was like,
there's just so much in an hour long film.
oh yeah, again, this film, if we were doing marks out of 10, this film gets a point for me because it was an hour and 8 minutes. So I'm like, oh man, all films should be an hour and 8 minutes long.
What about you,
You
Lauren?
know,
Any standout moments for you?
I just really enjoyed the hype man. Like, I was just like, I cannot believe that there's a guy going, "This is the best film. Watch this film," throughout the entire movie.
While you're
But
watching it.
exactly,
yeah,
I was just like, he was just getting me hyped up for it. I was like, yes, let's go.
preaching to the converted, bro. We're here, we're watching it. It would be like if you went to the cinema and the trailer for the film you're watching played before. You'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I should go and watch Madam Web. Oh no, wait, I'm already here.
Like films in the 70s, just put the whole film in the trailer, do it the other way around, put the trailer in the film.
Yeah. Yes.
That
You
needs to
know,
catch on.
we watched we watched Wings the other week, and that film was 2 hours and 2 hours 20. But at least the film had the decency to literally have an intermission. Like it was like, stop the film here for a bit, go do something else. And I was like, yes, I will.
Stretch your legs, go to the toilet, boil the kettle.
Pause the film, continue watching it 2 weeks later. You know, whatever you want to do. Realize you've got lots of Alan Wake 2 to be playing, you know, all that good stuff.
One moment for me that really stood out is near the beginning. That's a lot of the blood effects looked a bit goofy, but there was this one where someone like got stabbed like in the neck, and then blood just poured out, and that just stuck out like a sore thumb because that looked really real.
I think we just watched a murder on screen, Jeff. I think I think they just snuffed that guy.
Oh,
Yeah, but like yeah, to build on that point, some of the deaths in the big conflict at the end are quite harrowing. Actually, some of the deaths throughout all of it are like they're played really, really well, and like the use of gore, little blood might be a bit excessive, but it's nothing wouldn't see outside of a samurai movie or a Quentin Tarantino film. And like it's just as effective here. Like, you know, and then the hype man would be like, big up, man. And you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm taken out of this moment a bit now.
It was just insane. Like it was like a commentary of what was going on, but also like hyping people up. Oh, and also bad mouthing some of the people that were on the screen. It's like it'd be like a bad guy, and it's like, oh, what a dick! Blah, blah, blah. There's just stuff like that going on. It just
I
made it
think
much more fun to watch, I think.
definitely. I think we've got what Kevin Feige should be doing for the rest of the MCU. He should just be talking over the top of it.
Can you imagine him being a hype man?
BJ Fergie on the
Yeah.
mic.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a. Have you guys ever watched Mystery Science Theater 3000?
yes.
No.
Like, well, that was the vibe I got from that. Like,
Oh,
yeah, so Mystery Science 3000, Lauren, is like was for lots of people, I think especially me, was like their gateway into bad films. Essentially,
Okay.
the conceit was this guy was trapped on a spaceship, and the only films he had to watch on this spaceship were bad ones. So he'd sit, and him and his two robot friends would just talk over the movies, and like it's really, really lovely, and like it isn't. Again, it sounds very mean spirited, but again, I think there's a lot of the love of the game in Mystery Science Theater 3000. They understand that these people kind of are trying, and some of the films are just a bit crappy,
Mm.
you know? It's like, I don't know about you, Jeff, but that was kind of some of my gateway into bad films.
oh,
And
it
actually,
might.
there's a weird link to what we were talking about earlier. Netflix made a season of that.
What?
The Mystery Science of 3000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, good luck to trying to get a hold of it. I was going to say, Jeff, one thing that has come from watching Captain Alex was going, probably need to watch more African cinema. Like,
Yeah, same here. Like, he's been quite prolific because Who Killed Captain Alex came out 2015. There's been other films come out afterwards, like what he advertised in the film Bad Black, and ma- many, many, many others afterwards. Because
that's
I know
amazing.
Vice did a documentary on him, as well, like a mini documentary, talking about it as well, and just featuring it. And yeah, that must be other people, not just him. Like,
Yeah, a few years ago, I think it may have won an Oscar or was nominated from. There was a South African documentary called Searching for Sugar Man. That's a pretty good documentary. Like,
okay.
did that win, Lauren? I saw a knowing nod from you.
I heard that. I remember the name, and I remember it, like people talking about it. I don't know whether it won something, but that name rang a bell in my head.
Yeah, like that's when I think of African cinema, that's the only thing I can think of when it comes to it, you know. And I can think that Black Panther pretends to be that by making up a fake African country. Well, they're saying that the guy who directs it and writes it, they could all be African. I don't know. I don't know the cast list of Black Panther or the crew list.
Well,
You know,
Ryan Coogler. I don't know if he's
yeah,
African.
no, couldn't. Impossible to say. I've not seen his birth certificate.
I mean, maybe give it like 10, 20 years. Nollywood and wakaliwood may be a bit more like substantial,
Yeah.
like Bollywood in India,
Oh
like
yes.
has risen up.
Oh
Korean
yeah.
cinema
So,
recently has
yeah,
has come to prominence. So,
oh, definitely. I'd say what like 2022, 23 were like the year for Bollywood really breaking into Western cinema.
mm.
Like the guy that made RRR, like his filmography is a delight from back to finish. And if you've not watched RRR, it is like 3 hours long. It's pretty long, but it is wild.
Are
He
you
made
talking
another
about
film.
that crazy robot film?
Uh,
You're not talking about the crazy robot film, are you?
I, I, I don't think it's got a robot in it. This is going to be me maybe forgetting there's a robot in it.
I'm
Is
thinking about a Bollywood film with like a robot Terminator kind of thing in it, but I think that's a completely different thing. My bad.
um there's that guy also made another film where this guy dies and he comes back as a fly, and uh, it's one of those things where in if a Western filmmaker made that movie, the fly would have a voiceover and you'd be able to hear his thoughts. But nope, in this film, he's just a fly. Like, but you know it's him, and he uses the power of filmmaking to let you know the fly's intentions and what it wants to do instead of just doing some voiceover over it. And it's very it's the only film you'll see with a fly training montage, and that's all I'll say. Yeah, I think that one of the best things about the world and the internet making the world a little bit smaller is getting to enjoy other people's like art from other cultures. You know, it makes you think about how popular all the like Norse crime dramas are. Like people want to watch like crime dramas from like is it like Denmark and Sweden and Norway? Like they're so popular at the moment.
Yeah, especially on
And
BBC. You tend to find them on
yes,
BBC, don't you?
yeah, exactly. And it's like, and I think the kind of funny thing is they make those kind of shows over there so much because that's not the kind of thing they ever deal with, really. Not that there's not been murders and stuff in Norway, but because they're like, because it's a sleepy country and stuff, you know, like that. It's like they don't really have any famous serial killers or whatnot,
Mm.
you know. And
So
yeah,
maybe by this, like Uganda doesn't have many drug cartels.
Yeah, or helicopter pilots.
Mm. Or kung fu fighters. But then again, we know they have kung fu fighters, so
I saw hundreds of them. Yeah, I couldn't believe. And oh man, there's a bit where that guy is walking around that warehouse, and there's a guy above a door frame doing splits to hold himself up.
mm.
And I was like, I've never done a shot as impressive as that in a movie. Like, like all of my filmography is a letdown comparative to this guy doing this one splits.
Yeah, the strength and that well, not just upper body strength, but the whole body strength to do that. I couldn't do that for like 5 seconds.
I think if I did splits, I'd die.
So looking on IMDb, there's Who Killed
Mhm.
Captain Alex 2 in production. It's been in production since 2022. So if they're shooting stuff on the weekends, then yeah,
Yeah.
maybe take a bit longer. But no, that it is coming going into
Did you
to
see on
IMDb.
the Wikipedia page that the direct sequel that he actually made it, and there was a power surge and it deleted it from his hard drive.
Oh.
Oh, Lauren, why? Why would you tell me these sad things?
Oh,
As the thing, I've been in a position before when I was at uni where it's like I'm gonna have to delete some stuff that I've made just to have room on a hard drive, and it's I'm not crying, I'm not getting that emotional about it. And it is harrowing to just lose stuff.
oh.
Oh man.
That hurts. We had a power surge recently as well, so that's it's not good.
Imagine if you lost your Fortnite Battle Pass on that power surge, Jeff. How sad you'd be.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be getting some continuations from Who Killed Captain Alex and some other stuff and see more films from that part of the world. But in spirit of your podcast, out of 10, what would you rate it?
Overall, I'd probably give it an 8.
I'd give it a 6, I think.
Okay.
Just it wasn't awful. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen. It was a nice in between.
I think the thing is, Jeff, what I've learned from doing this podcast with Lauren is that I have much stronger emotional reactions to movies than Lauren does.
Heartless.
It just speaks to someone that again used to hang out with Mary Jane maybe a bit more than Lauren did.
I've never seen Mary Jane.
Oh, fair enough. Like, so how would you rate like the effects?
We'll do the whole bit, Jack. Acting,
Okay, yeah.
I'd probably give it a 10.
Go on, Laurel. What would you give
Again,
it?
I'm gonna give him an 8 for effort. I'm impressed that they got what they did with what they had.
what
Fair enough.
would you give it overall an acting, Jeff, out of 10?
Out of 10, I would say an 8. Acting, what I see, 7.
Yeah.
Stunts,
Cinematography,
stunts I give a 10.
yeah. Yeah, stunts I'd probably give an 11. Like, for cinematography, I'd probably give it a 6.
Yeah.
There is some interesting shots, but they're sometimes a bit few and far between. It feels like sometimes they go, I'm just gonna handheld this scene so we can just film it and get it done. A trick you recognize you've ever been a filmmaker on set going, fuck it, we'll handheld the scene so we can just film it and get it
Yeah.
done.
I mean, it
definitely
works for the places it works, but
yeah.
yeah, like you say,
Dave,
if you've been on the other side of it, it's like, yeah, you probably do that because of that. Like, apparently, he used I think a car jack as a tripod.
yeah, fair enough.
So if that means you didn't have a tripod, then use what you have. If you don't have a tripod, but you have like, you got some arms so you can hold a camera. Let's go for that.
Me and Aisha were shooting a short film the other day, and I used a stack of Blu-rays as a tripod in one shot. It's like I just need to be this far off the ground. It's like, what have we got around? Oh, these Blu-rays.
There's some poetic
Yeah,
like image there, or
yeah. Sound, I'd
Hey,
probably have to give it a
thumbs up.
sound. I'd probably have to give it a 2
What is that?
because because the film is very poorly sound dubbed, especially when there's voiceover over the top.
Apart from the voiceover, I thought the gunshot sounds were really good. In the way that it's just sort of like it just was edited, like the sound was edited well against
Yeah.
like the sound effects and stuff. And
Sorry,
like
we're not doing. We're
and
not.
the video
We're not doing.
DJ for me was great.
Sorry, we're not doing out of 5. We're doing out of 10, aren't we? I'd give it a 4. Sorry, I
Okay.
apologize.
Oh yeah, you do it out of 5, don't you? 10.
We yeah,
10,
sorry.
5.
Don't worry.
No,
Well,
that's
we're
my
doing
fault.
10 at the moment.
I'll give it a 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that was Who Killed Captain Alex, and yeah, that's been Josh and Lauren. Thank you very much for joining me. Just to remind people, where can people find you?
Well, Lauren's home address is is 123 Fake Street. You can find me and Lauren twice a month on the Marvelless podcast, where we take the entirety of the MCU and put it in the battle to the death against the rest of cinema to decide which is better. Obviously, the joke in the room being that, of course, the rest of cinema is probably going to be better than 30 films. But it is done with love for. It's done with a love for Marvel, but a curiosity about the rest of cinema. And on our off weeks, so once a month you get your cinema versus MCU, and then every other week you get we call it a less Marvel less, which is normally about the length as a regular episode, where we kind of just talk about normally something a bit more topical. Like this year we did Saltburn, because obviously Saltburn was a bit of a cultural phenomenon. January, December, when we talked about Wings, because obviously the Oscars is happening, and Wings is the first one that won an Oscar. And it used to be we just used to do quizzes, but we stepped away from just doing quizzes. I'd say me and Lauren provide a familial chat between old friends about something that we really love.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
and
very nicely put, Josh. Well done.
It's all right. I've been practicing the spiel because I thought Jeff might ask you.
So, and you can be found at
Oh,
at Marvellous.
at Marvelless on YouTube, Instagram,
Spotify.
and Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Obviously, for some reason, the Apple Podcast comes out maybe 12 hours after everyone else's, but that's just Apple being Apple.
Oh,
You have to, well, because you have to do it separate. I have to put them on Spotify, and then I have to go into Apple and press refresh. So however long it takes Apple to refresh after I press the button is when you get the podcast.
Yeah, Lauren does all of the like important stuff, like getting the show out there, and I just talk.
links to Marvellous will be down in the description below. Thank you very much both for coming on. Yeah, any parting words?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us, Jeff.
Oh, thank
We
you.
will have you on our podcast sometime when we talk about a film you've ever seen before. We'll
Oh, good luck with that.
Oh.
Right. Well, again, thank you, and thanks for watching, guys, everyone, and see you later.
Bye.
Bye.